Your roadmap to the latest in auto. Welcome to Highway Herald. Europe's iconic car industry, once a global leader, now faces a severe crisis. Mounting US tariffs, internal political unrest, and fierce competition are shaking automakers like Volkswagen, BMW, and Renault. The repercussions go beyond cars, disrupting Europe's economy from steel to luxury goods. With its industrial legacy at stake, how did this happen, and can Europe recover? Let's explore the 7 key reasons behind this downfall. Reason number 7, the US tariff time bomb. Europe has long relied on the US as its second largest market for automotive exports, shipping around 600,000 vehicles annually from brands like BMW, Audi, and Mercedes-Benz. However, proposed tariffs of up to 25% on European car imports could spell disaster, potentially costing the automotive sector over 10 billion euros annually. The ramifications don't stop with cars. Tariffs on steel, aluminum, and luxury goods add fuel to the fire. France, Germany, and Italy, countries heavily dependent on US demand, are bracing for staggering losses. For instance, France's wine industry, which exported 4.2 billion euros worth of wine to the US in 2023, faces an existential threat if these tariffs take effect. The fallout is more than economic, it's geopolitical. The strained trade relations between Europe and the US are forcing European leaders into a defensive stance, scrambling to counter these policies while preserving their industries. Reason number 6, a fractured union. The European Union, once a beacon of unity, now finds itself grappling with deep internal divisions. Protests over economic inequality and pension reforms have rocked France, while Germany's once dominant industrial sector is losing its edge in global competitiveness. Meanwhile, Italy remains entangled in debt crises and political turmoil, further straining EU solidarity. At the core of this fragmentation is the weakened Franco-German alliance, a relationship that once formed the backbone of EU policymaking. Ongoing disputes over fiscal reforms and trade strategies have led to fragmented responses to external challenges, including US tariffs. This disunity has eroded Europe's collective bargaining power. Without a cohesive approach, individual nations are left to fend for themselves, diminishing the strength that once positioned the EU as a formidable force in global trade negotiations. Rebuilding unity is essential to restoring Europe's influence on the world stage. Reason number 5, economic stagnation and ECB's limited arsenal. Europe's economy is faltering, with GDP growth crawling at less than 1%. Key sectors like manufacturing and agriculture are contracting, while inflation remains well below the European Central Bank's (ECB) 2% target. Despite aggressive measures such as negative interest rates and quantitative easing, the ECB's strategies are losing their impact. The automotive industry, which accounts for nearly 7% of Europe's GDP, is particularly at risk. A collapse in this sector would ripple across supply chains, severely impacting steel production, logistics, and technology industries. The broader social consequences are equally alarming. Rising unemployment, shrinking consumer confidence, and increasing public discontent threaten to exacerbate the crisis, creating significant hurdles for economic recovery. Without decisive intervention, Europe's economic slowdown risks spiraling into a prolonged period of instability, further eroding its global standing. Before we delve deeper, we'd appreciate it if you could subscribe to Highway Herald. Your support fuels our passion to create more content like this. Now, let's explore reason number 4, heavy dependence on US and Chinese trade. Europe's heavy dependence on the US and China as trade partners poses significant risks. The US accounts for 18% of Europe's exports, while China has become essential for luxury goods and industrial machinery. This reliance leaves Europe vulnerable to external disruptions. The COVID-19 pandemic exposed the fragility of Europe's supply chains tied to Chinese manufacturing, while escalating US-China trade tensions add further uncertainty. To secure its economic future, Europe must diversify its trade relationships by building stronger ties with emerging markets in Africa, South America, and Southeast Asia. However, such a transition requires significant investments in infrastructure, logistics, and diplomatic relations. These initiatives are vital, but have been slow to materialize. Without taking bold steps to reduce its dependency on these dominant partners, Europe risks being at the mercy of global economic shocks, jeopardizing its industrial and economic stability. Reason number 3, the uphill battle of electrification. The automotive industry is racing toward an electric future, but Europe is struggling to keep up with this monumental shift. Despite setting ambitious goals to cut emissions, many European automakers remain behind the curve in EV innovation and production. High production costs, a lack of extensive charging infrastructure, and stiff competition from global EV powerhouses are holding Europe back. China, dominating over 60% of the lithium-ion battery market, has surged ahead with affordable, high-quality EV options from brands like BYD and NIO. These brands are carving out significant market share in Europe, offering consumers enticing alternatives. Meanwhile, Tesla's gigafactories, especially in Berlin, pose a direct threat to Europe's own automakers. To stay competitive, Europe must rapidly invest in battery technology, charging networks, and a sustainable supply chain. But with its current economic pressures, achieving this transformation will require nothing short of a Herculean effort. Reason number 2: geopolitical tensions and strategic rivalries. The US's aggressive trade policies are more than just tariffs. They're part of a larger strategy to reinforce its economic dominance and curb the rise of powers like China. By targeting European industries, the US aims to weaken a key competitor while sending a clear message. Economic leverage is a tool it will use without hesitation. Europe's reliance on American trade creates a dangerous vulnerability. To mitigate this, the EU must double down on building strategic independence. Projects like the European Green Deal offer a glimmer of hope by emphasizing reduced dependence on fossil fuels and external suppliers. Still, these measures require greater investment in self-reliance and cutting-edge innovation to keep Europe in the economic race. Without these steps, Europe risks falling behind in the global competition for dominance. Reason number 1: the cracks in European unity. Unity has been the cornerstone of the European Union's strength, but widening divisions have emerged in recent years. Disagreements over fiscal policies, immigration, and responses to global challenges are straining relationships among member states. Southern countries like Italy and Greece often find themselves at odds with northern nations such as Germany and the Netherlands over economic reforms and budgetary priorities. This disunity undermines Europe's ability to tackle external threats, including US tariffs, with a cohesive strategy. Fragmented negotiations by individual states dilute the EU's influence in global trade talks, weakening its competitive edge. To protect its industrial heritage and ensure a stable economic future, Europe must urgently rebuild solidarity among its members. Only by fostering unity can the EU navigate the complex challenges ahead and reclaim its position as a formidable force on the global stage. The stakes have never been higher. The final verdict: a crossroads for Europe's auto industry. Europe's automotive sector is at a crossroads, facing challenges from US tariffs, the EV transition, and internal disunity. This crisis, however, presents an opportunity for transformation. By embracing innovation, diversifying trade, and fostering EU unity, Europe can reclaim global leadership. The road ahead is difficult, but bold actions can turn obstacles into growth opportunities. Will Europe rise to the challenge or succumb to division? Decisions made now will shape its automotive industry and global standing for decades. What do you think? Can Europe's auto industry overcome these hurdles and reclaim its former glory, or is the road ahead simply too steep? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. We'd love to hear your take. And if you're as passionate about cars and the industry as we are, make sure to subscribe to Highway Herald and hit the notification bell so you never miss our updates. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next video.